Lady from Washington is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Garland, thank you for your tremendous service to this country. As somebody who was trapped in the gallery on January 6th, I have to admit it's still hard for me to look at that video and imagine that that happened at our U.S. Capitol. And I'm deeply grateful that you have led this nation towards accountability of all those who were involved, including the former president. You have done so with full and complete attention to the facts, with a team around you that focuses on thorough investigation, and with a very clear mission that you've stated over and over and over again, despite the asked and answered on the other side, that the Justice Department works for the American people. This is a night and day transformation from a Justice Department that was constantly used by Donald Trump for his own political gain. And it is my firm belief that we have to hold those accountable who tried to destroy our country, including the former president, or we risk losing our country altogether. So I thank you for your steadfast leadership. It is just sad that this committee has also been transformed into a soapbox for political conspiracy theorists, instead of focusing on the really important issues that the American people care about. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to focus on the critical crisis of reproductive freedom and the efforts to try and strip reproductive freedom from people across this country. As you know, a decades-long project of the extreme right wing materialized last year when 5 Republican-appointed justices overturned 50 years of precedent that established the constitutional right to abortion. As one of the 1 in 4 women across this country who has had an abortion and who felt compelled to share my story after decades because I saw the attacks on the right to abortion and what it would do particularly for poor women, for Black and brown and indigenous people across this country, I spoke out and shared that story. In the 22 states where Republicans control the state legislature and governorship today, all have moved to restrict reproductive rights. More than 25 million women of childbearing age now live in states where abortion access has been curtailed. And in Washington state, my home state, the Seattle Times reported that we are seeing increasing numbers of abortion patients, not only from neighboring Idaho, which we knew we would see, but also from other southern states where these restrictions are enforced. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter this Seattle Times article into the record. She traveled 2,000 miles secretly for her Washington abortion. Why patients from the South are coming here?
Without objection.
As our fundamental freedoms are threatened by extreme MAGA Republicans in Congress and across the country, we trust that the DOJ will initiate investigations and file lawsuits to protect reproductive rights. With respect to mifepristone, what has the department done to protect access to this very safe abortion drug that women can take at home safely and to end a pregnancy?
So the FDA authorized the use of mifepristone as safe and effective, and it did it back in 2000. That's been challenged, first in a district court when we defended the FDA in that matter. There was an appeal in to the circuit court, which narrowed the district court's opinion in some ways, but allowed it to go forward in other. We have filed a cert petition, which has been granted, I think, in the Supreme Court of the United States.
Very, very important work. Thank you. My home state of Washington has one of the highest rates of religiously affiliated hospitals in the country, with our state's insurance commissioner's office reporting that in 2021, there were several counties lacking even one secular hospital. This is an issue under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act when patients in need of abortion care as a life-saving treatment are denied services under the hospital's policies. What is the department doing to enforce this law, mandating that every hospital that receives Medicare funds provide, quote, necessary stabilizing treatment to patients, including abortion care?
You're right. This is a federal law. It expressly preempts any inconsistent state law. For that reason, we filed a lawsuit in Idaho and one in the district court with respect to an Idaho law that impinged on the rights granted under EMTALA. We have filed, I think, a number of statements of interest in other places, and we're continuing to look at where it would be appropriate to intervene.
Thank you. You're on record stating that women who reside in states that have banned access to comprehensive reproductive care must remain free to seek that care in states where it is legal. I thank you for that. Can you briefly discuss the progress made by the task force and DOJ to ensure that pregnant people retain their right to travel?
Yes, look, my view about this right to travel is the same as Justice Kavanaugh's in his separate opinion. He said, this is not a particularly difficult question. The right to travel is a constitutional right, and it allows a woman in a state that bars abortion to travel and obtain an abortion in a state in which it's permitted.
Thank you, Attorney General, for your commitment to this issue and to upholding the rule of law in our country. Appreciate your service.
Time of delay has expired.